Hi, welcome. Today we're going to go over application control, Application Network Access Control, or ANAC. Application Network Access Control, or ANAC, is part of the UWM suite from Ivanti. And we're going to go over a very specific use case here. You may have an older portal or some type of website within your company that requires a particular version of Internet Explorer or some other browser. The biggest problem with using an older browser in your environment is that it's most likely going to be unsupported and not patched. Well, if you're forced to use an older browser because of an incompatibility in the newer browsers with some portal, there is a way to limit your risk. And we're going to show you how to do that with application control. So first thing we're going to do here is we're going to open up our application control console, and we've got a brand new untitled configuration here. Now, if you're familiar with application control, you know that there are different rules that you have available to you. The group rules, user rules, device rules, custom, scripted, and process. For what we're going to be doing today, we're going to need a process rule. So let's go down to process rule. We're going to create a new process rule. And we're going to rename this. We're going to call this old IE. Now, here, the process itself is going to be the Internet Explorer process, but we've got a couple things that are important in this particular environment, and that is that there are other versions of Internet Explorer that will need to be able to run normally while we restrict this special one. Now, I can't exactly duplicate this kind of scenario on a Windows 7 machine because apparently it's very difficult now to get the older versions of Internet Explorer installed onto Windows. So I'm just going to show you what the difference would be between two different versions of Internet Explorer across two different platforms. So we'll have a Windows 7 with one version of Internet Explorer, and then a slightly newer one, obviously, for Windows 10. So how we're going to do this is we're going to need to actually look at the file that's on the endpoint itself. So we're going to look at, in this case, our Windows 7 machine. And we're going to select the iExplore.exe. Now, when we do that, we've populated the metadata from that file. Now, what we're going to do here is put a minimum and maximum for the metadata. This will filter this particular rule so that it will only apply to this specific version of Internet Explorer. Now, when we go back over here, I can take that out. We don't want that in there. And we're going to click OK. So now we've set our process rule, the top level rule for Internet Explorer, and we've put metadata to specify a particular version. Now we have to go in and put our allows and denies. Now, by default, we want to deny access to all websites. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to put a star in here under host. Now that will block all web pages, but it will only apply to this older version of Internet Explorer. Now I do need the user to be able to get to the portal, the internal portal. We're going to just pretend today that that internal portal is going to be Google. So let's go in. We're going to go to hostname again. And this time, just to make sure we catch it on both sides, we're going to do star google.com star. And we're going to check this box here for text contains wildcard characters. All right. So one of the basic rules that we have in application control is that if there is a conflict between an allow and a deny, the allow wins. So we can deny broadly and allow narrowly. All right, now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and save this configuration into the Management Center. We're just going to call this old IE. And now we'll go over to the Management Center, and we'll go into our Packages section here. And right now we have an audit version of the config that's deployed. So we're going to go ahead and change that configuration to old IE. Now here, normally in a production environment, you're always going to use the exact revision. You don't want these things to upgrade without your consent. So we're just going to go ahead and leave it at revision 0. The always used latest is great for testing, but I wouldn't use it in a production environment. All right, now if we go to computer, I've already got this set for a very low poll period, but I'm just going to go ahead and poll it right now. All right, now that the poll is turned green, we can go ahead and switch over to our Windows 7 machine. Now we're just logged in as a regular user. And I'm going to go ahead and open up Internet Explorer, and we're going to see immediately that we're going to get a lot of denies because Internet Explorer talks to a bunch of different sites. Bing, there's all kinds of things here. All right, let's go ahead and open up Internet Explorer, or open up Google. We're only going to get what we've allowed, which is google.com. Okay. Now, this is the Internet Explorer version that is on Windows 7. What I'm going to show you real quick here is that if we go over to Windows 10, we're logged in on the same account here. I'm going to go ahead and open Internet Explorer. Now you'll notice that Internet Explorer is opening up criticaldesign.net with no problem at all, and that is because this is a different version of Internet Explorer. The file version is different, and so it's ignoring the rule for that version. Let's go back over to the Windows 7 machine real quick, and I'll just show you that it is only affecting the Internet Explorer browser. We can go to other web pages here with no problem. Okay. So that's how we can block older versions of Internet Explorer or any other browser that you might use from running anything but a very specific web page in your environment with ANAC. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you found this helpful.